Hey everyone, this is Ben from Testive, and I just wanted to go over a couple changes to the product that we deployed today. I wanted to give you a heads up about the positive changes that we've made and a couple things to look out for. So big thanks to coaches for giving us a heads up about what we needed to do, and to Lee for making it happen. So the first thing is that we have finally divided the SAT, the new SAT, out into subcategories. So we can actually see that in both of the math sections, instead of simply having math no calculator and math with calculator, we now have subcategories within each of these sections. We have Heart of Algebra, Passport to Advanced Mathematics, Problem Solving and Data Analysis, and Additional Practice in Mathematics. In reading, these are the College Board topics, the standards that are presented within the description of the test. In reading, we have it aligned with the different genres that are represented on the test. Writing, we wanted to preserve the complete passage experience, so we just kept complete passage. Okay. The one thing to look out for here is because we broke this up into subcategories, it exposed a couple areas where we don't have as many questions. So the two things to look out for are in math with calculator. We don't have very many questions in Passport to Advanced Mathematics. However, we do have a ton of questions, and I'll get to this in a moment, in additional practice. And this covers a lot of the same fundamental math skills that students are going to need to build. So students should be at no disadvantage in actually boosting the skills that they need to, especially with you as a coach to guide them. Same thing applies to reading science passages. We're at a deficit here. However, these passage-based reading skills, they should be able to practice in other areas at no real cost to them as a student. They should really be able to build the skills that they need to in other areas. It's just your job as a coach to make sure that they're not worried about that. Okay. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the ACT. Show you something else that we changed. Okay, so something that we were hearing from you was that we just simply did not have the numbers in ACT math to adequately serve our students. We didn't have a big enough question bank. This didn't used to be a problem when we had the old SAT because students could practice plenty of math in that test. However, when we eliminated that test, those questions disappeared. So what we did was we dug back into those questions and we recategorized them in the appropriate categories for the ACT. Those questions, they're already calibrated to thousands of students practicing them, and they almost all, if not all, have videos. So we've increased the number of questions in the ACT in the numbers section there's 235 more questions. In algebra, there are 231 more questions available now. And in geometry, there are 177 more questions. So we have drastically increased the number of questions that students can practice, and this should completely overhaul the practice experience for students in the ACT and really improve their experience on the test and totally reduce the number of customer service problems that we have. You should be able to give them a much smoother experience practicing on the site as a coach. Should totally reduce that friction, any kind of MacGyvering of the experience that you have to do for them. You can kind of just make things a lot smoother. Okay, final thing. And this is all explained in the email as well. Final thing that I wanted to show you is that what we also did with those questions is we recategorized them. I'm going to go back over to new SAT. You saw those 700 questions in additional practice. It's important for students to have test format specific practice, but of course students don't just do practice tests day in and day out. So one thing that we did is we put those into additional practice here. So there's about 700 questions. They're the same questions here as they are here. So if students practice those questions once, they're not going to see them repeated, but they're the same questions. So students can actually boost their skills by practicing an additional practice. You can give them some extra questions. Okay, that's all. And go ahead and shoot me any questions that you have, and happy prepping to your students.